deep within the heart of the ancient Blackwood forest, where the towering trees intertwined to form a dense canopy that blocked out even the faintest glimmer of sunlight, a silence prevailed, a silence that masked the creeping unease that lingered in the air, a prelude to the impending horror that would soon awaken beneath the shadows of the ancient trees. The forest, once a haven of serenity, had become the setting for a chilling experiment gone awry. Unbeknownst to the world, a secluded research facility hidden in the heart of the Blackwood forest had been conducting experiments with a potent bioagent designed to enhance human capabilities. The scientists, blinded by their pursuit of knowledge, had inadvertently unleashed a nightmarish contagion upon the world. As the first moon of autumn bathed the forest in an ethereal glow, the ground beneath the trees stirred with an unnatural energy. The forest floor, once covered in a thick blanket of fallen leaves, began to shift and convulse. Unearthly groans echoed through the darkness as figures clad in tattered clothing emerged from the shadows. These were not the creatures of folklore or the reanimated dead of fiction. No, these were the victims of a scientific calamity, their bodies twisted and contorted by an insatiable hunger. The once human inhabitants of the Blackwood forest had become something else entirely. Grotesque abominations driven by an unrelenting desire for flesh. News of the outbreak reached a nearby town, and a group of survivors gathered, armed with makeshift weapons and a determination to escape the encroaching nightmare. Among them was Emily, a resourceful young woman with a haunted past, and Jake, a former military officer whose stoic demeanor masked the trauma of battles long fought. Their journey into the Blackwood forest was fraught with peril. The oppressive darkness seemed to swallow them whole as they ventured deeper into the ancient groves. The twisted trees, their branches gnarled like skeletal fingers, seemed to reach out in a macabre dance of malevolence. The survivors stumbled upon the remnants of the research facility, now abandoned and overrun by the forest's new inhabitants. Broken glass crunched beneath their boots as they navigated the desolate halls, the air heavy with the acrid stench of the flickering emergency lights cast erratic shadows, creating an unsettling dance of light and dark. As they delved deeper into the facility's bowels, they discovered the gruesome truth of the experiments that had taken place. Test subjects, now grotesque amalgamations of flesh and bone, roamed the dimly lit corridors. The survivors, driven by a mix of terror and determination, pressed on, hoping to find answers and a way out of the nightmare. Unbeknownst to them, the forest itself seemed to come alive with the undead. The rustling leaves whispered a symphony of doom as the survivors fought their way through the forest's twisted undergrowth. Shadows moved between the trees, and eerie moans echoed through the night, signaling the relentless pursuit of the forest's grotesque inhabitants. As the survivors reached the heart of the forest, they stumbled upon an ancient burial ground marked by weathered gravestones and forgotten rituals. The air grew colder, and an ominous fog enveloped the clearing. It was here that they realized the true horror of the contagion. They were not merely dealing with a scientific disaster, but an ancient force awakened by human folly. The undead, drawn by an unseen malevolence, closed in on the survivors. Panic set in as the group fought desperately against the relentless onslaught. Emily, her nerves of steel tested to their limits, recognized an ancient ritual circle at the center of the clearing. With the knowledge gleaned from her haunted past, she urged the group to perform a desperate incantation to appease the ancient forces. As the survivors chanted the ancient words, the fog thickened, and an otherworldly force seemed to respond. The undead, momentarily frozen in their relentless pursuit, began to convulse as if gripped by an unseen power. The very fabric of the forest itself seemed to rebel against the abomination that had been unleashed. In the eerie silence that followed, the survivors cautiously made their way out of the forest, leaving behind the once sacred burial ground, now shrouded in an ethereal mist. The Blackwood forest, forever scarred by the horrors of science gone wrong and ancient forces awakened, echoed with the haunting cries of the undead. As the survivors emerged into the moonlit night, the forest behind them seemed to breathe a sigh of relief. Yet the scars of their ordeal would linger, etched into their minds like the twisted trees of the Blackwood forest. The survivors, forever changed by the harrowing experience, carried with them the weight of a tale that spoke of the thin veil between the natural and supernatural. a tale that would be whispered in hushed tones for generations to come.